Hey everybody, Digital Sticks, and I'm back again on this topic of the Reverb G2, and largely motivated by the dislikes, but trying to clarify, trying to get to some kind of understanding of what's going on here. And so I've got a few points to make on this. First off, I'm just talking about the reality of the situation, and so, we don't expect people. There's no hype train trying to tell people that an i5 is the top end processor, the best they can get, all they need. Well, I mean, they might tell you it's all you need, depending on what you're trying to do, but they don't hype the i5 as if it's the end all, simply because they presume somebody can't afford an i7 or an i9 or whatever. And I'm sorry, I'm just sticking with Intel because I don't keep up with, you know, all the latest on GPUs. I've got or CPUs. I've got the one that works for me right now, and when I need one, that's when I'll get into that. There's other people that are on that. My gaming PC works, and then I use it from there. But the point is, there are premium products that not everybody can afford, and there is some middle ground that works for most people on a lot of things. Well, that would be fine if that was the case with VR. If the only difference between these devices was better features on one than another, but the experience was the same, that would be different. But what we're talking about on the difference between these devices is missing elements of the complete package, complete missing elements of the experience. We're not talking about just the difference between low resolution and high resolution. We're talking about the actual experiences that you can possibly have on these headsets and the actual enjoyment you'll have in those experiences. This is a big deal. This isn't just a matter of running a game on medium settings or a game on ultra settings. The reality is people have budgets that limit what they can get, and they have a value performance proposition that works for them. And so there's people that can handle not having these elements and be perfectly fine with that. There's other people that will set their opinion of VR based on a reduced quality experience, and they may have just barely missed, they may have just made the wrong purchase and would have had something that they would have loved and enjoyed. And honestly, for some people, VR can be life-saving. The social elements that are available for some people can be life-saving, literally. And other people are just, if you're generally broke or struggling financially, if you can make a quality investment in VR, that might bring a very, I'm speaking from experience here. That can bring a lot of consistent and available and inexpensive satisfaction, or at least something you can do other than, it for me, especially during college, as a single father, having the VR available is the only thing that makes a escape for me available. Like especially when I'm busy with the semester and things like that, I just have a pickup option for social time for myself that I wouldn't have without VR. And, it's resetting. Like, I don't see anybody in real life hardly at all these days. And to get a window where I can jump into VR chat and have normal conversations with people and kind of get a feeling, it's huge. It's got to be resetting for me. I don't know where I'd be without it, On the other hand, would I choose VR over, back when I thought my family life was fine and things were rolling and no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't replace like a satisfying, full-fledged real life with VR, but people's situations sometimes don't support it. So VR has a lot of potential, a lot of importance, and getting it right is important too. So that's where these discussions come in. It is not to make anybody feel bad, not to make anybody feel left out, not to make anybody feel dumb for their decisions, not to change anybody's mind if they have their mind made up and they're willing to own their own decisions. It's simply, there's a difference between the devices. And when it comes to VR, we are talking about compromises on the experience. This is like buying a processor that's going to do everything you want but play Minecraft, and you love Minecraft. It's kind of like that. It's actually stuff that you cannot do because of the compromises of components, or cannot do, or practically cannot do. It's just hard to explain. But, okay, so first, one of the points, I'm going to follow up on that, but one of the points I wanted to make as far as this goes, out of 4 reviews I watched on the HP Reverb G2 that were for the shipping version, not the pre-production models, those reviewers and their mainstream reviewers, they each one of them referenced having the Index as their daily driver, and each one of them has a Quest 2. They have pretty much every mainstream headset that's come out. They have them all available. And for all of the hype and excitement and everything that they had in their reviews regarding the Quest 2, they park it and they keep using the Index as their daily driver. And there's a reason for that. Some of them are now talking about possibly using the Reverb G2 as a daily driver. Time will tell whether they go with that, but they're not going with the Reverb G2 kit. They're going with the Reverb G2 as a hybrid setup with their Index controllers. That combo, if you have nothing, is $1,300 or so, or more. It's more than $1,300. It's just the exact figure, forget it. Anyways, it's expensive. And for anybody that's balking at the Index kit that then turns around and wants that kit, and the only thing different at that point between an Index kit and the Reverb G2 is the resolution. But as you see, the Reverb G2 has the other features. It's basically the one of the reasons people are considering that combination is because the Valve was in on the design of the Reverb G2, and so when it comes to the HMD, the quality of experience is not compromised. They still get that audio that they've loved. They still get the comfort that is awesome, and now they get better visuals. The only thing that they have to take a trade-off for is refresh rate and field of view. So, all right. Now getting back to complete kits, for VR, quality audio is important, quality tracking is essential, and comfort is critical. Especially, unless you're just going to barely dabble with it, comfort is critical. Because there are things in here that if you really love them, you're going to do for hours on end, not just an hour here, an hour there. If you're very extremely casual about how you're going to use VR, some of this stuff isn't nearly as important to you. If you're that casual about VR, then that's where Quest 2 probably makes a whole lot more sense than something more expensive. But if you really hope to love VR, it's important to understand these differences. And it's not a matter of, if I get a Quest 2, I can run on medium, and if I get an Index, I can run on ultra. It is not that. That's the medium and ultra difference is people that have an Index that are going to use it as a hybrid setup with the Reverb G2. That's where that's coming in. That's more of a typical gamer that's got to have the absolute best he can possibly get his hands on, regardless of whether it's financially sensible or not. There are gamers out there like that. More power to them. They probably bring down the cost of everything for the rest of us. But the Reverb G2, someone was trying to say the tracking's not terrible. Well, the tracking is usable, and it's better than it was for the Cosmos, apparently. But here's the problem with the limitations of the tracking. It is too poor to be competitive with those controllers in a first-person shooter. So if you play competitively, if you've been playing a lot, and you're actually in games with people that are good, so if it's peak skill that you need to be playing at the level that you play, the Reverb G2 is not going to keep up with you. It's going to mess you up. And if you're just going to jump in just to check it out and kind of goof off with other people that don't hardly play first-person shooters, and nobody's like special with it, then yeah, you can jump in. You're probably going to be working well enough to have fun. But I've watched the reviews, and the tracking issues and where people had to hold their arms for different elements of the game and such, it was not fun. And Eric for President rage quit, basically, from a game because he was tired of it. So that's just a reality people need to understand. And then for VR chat, that's horrible. You lose tracking just by casually holding your hands down at your side. You can't reach anything behind you. So yeah, when you're actively doing something in VR chat, your hand tracking will probably be there for most of what you're trying to grab or whatever. But as far as actually, you're going to be obviously gimped in the game. You're going to have very erratic things that people will view, and you'll view it yourself if VR chat for some people is just a mirror simulator. So that mirror won't be as fun when you're having to purposely, when you're having to do some kind of crazy poses just to, when you're limited to what you can do, because if you were normal, your hands would fly off. That's not good tracking. So it's not unusable. It is not unusable. I never tried to imply that the tracking was completely unusable. But it's inexcusable to put out a headset in 2020 that doesn't have quality tracking available. If people can't figure it out, they're not ready to be in the market of a headset. So, and it's not Reverb. It's not HP that has it messed up. It's Microsoft. They have not updated or tried to improve WMR. They were basically, it looks like, content to let it die. Then along comes HP like, hey, we're going to put out another headset on this. Can you help us out? So they put a new face on the controllers. Yeah, sure. But they didn't actually do anything to make it to make it a viable platform. So you just need to be aware of that before you buy it. And so the differences between these headsets are things that actually limit what you can do in VR and take away options in VR, and just they're handicaps, and they're just, it's more than just simply it looks better on this headset than that one. It's not that simple, and it should be kind of that simple, because the basics that make quality VR were already established in 2016. And the idea that it's terrible that a company will compromise those just to make a gimmicky price. And that's what Facebook has done. Oculus, I don't think, would have done that. Obviously, every company needs to try to come up with an affordable product, but affordable and cheap are different things. And the original Rift became quite affordable, and but then they tried to go, and basically all the compromises were trying to pay for giving you a smartphone inside your headset, basically. But when you're stuck with PC VR, you were in an affordable environment with quality VR. And now this mobile headset, where all this effort went into mobile, the majority of people are considering it. Well, I don't know if it's a majority, but the discussions keep coming up where people are considering it as a PC VR headset. So the comfort, I mentioned that. So the Quest 2 has quality tracking. It has enough touch capacity with controllers and things of that sort. Its biggest drawback is comfort. And so if a person can adjust to that, one of its advantages is there is a way to use it wirelessly. And so, the Quest 2 as an entry-level headset, as far as sticking with brand new headsets, that's where we're at regardless. The comfort is a major issue for me. The audio being missing is a major issue. The new IPD stuff and all that, that's going to be an issue for some and not an issue for others. Excuse me. So, so that makes it it makes it a fair enough entry-level headset for people on a budget. And I'm not at all telling you not to do that. There's not a lot of options, basically, is where we're at with that. But there's a lot of reasons. If you can make a better headset happen, especially the Index kit, it's a smart move, depending on you weigh these things out and decide for yourself. But that's what all this information is for, is so you can actually make an honest, informed decision for yourself. Why people are going to download that, I don't understand. Just because the big picture painted out and laid out makes their personal decision seem makes less sense, or make it almost, I still don't understand where people are getting offended at that. If they've got their mind made up and anything I share here doesn't sway them, or doesn't, then that's fine. I don't understand. I'm not at all here, it's not like I'm berating people and saying, oh, if you bought a Quest, you're just stupid. I don't think anyone's stupid for that. The whole point of this stuff is because if you don't know, you don't know. And so it's kind of a gamble. And very few people are going to kind of luck into, oh, I'm glad I decided to randomly spend $1,000 instead of $300. That really worked out. Not too many people are going to just randomly spend $1,000 if they don't understand what the point is. So to talk about the difference in experience is important so people can make an informed decision. And then if they kind of know what to expect, and then they could weigh out what they were expecting versus what they get, and having an idea of the compromises in the device they have compared to how they experience the device they have, it's very possible somebody that went with the Quest because they had to, because of their budget, could decide, hey, I'm fine with this. I really don't know what I'm missing. I'm good. And if you're good, you're good. Actually, if you're good, you're great. I mean, if you're happy with what you have, if you're happy with what you have for what you paid, that's great. And if you'd have no compulsion that, if you're not just eager for another upgrade, but you're enjoying what you've got, I mean, that's contentment is the ultimate value, period. And so, but the tracking isn't optional. It needs to be precise. It needs to be good. If a corporation doesn't have a scheme that works, they need to go back to the drawing board. They don't need to release a headset. And that's where the Reverb G2 is, because of Microsoft. The mystery is that they did that they put such premium effort into a Microsoft Windows mixed reality based headset in 2020, with WMR being what it always has been. That is a mystery. I don't understand. I don't know if there's some contractual obligations involved in that. If companies that went with WMR are somehow committed to staying with that platform for a certain time frame, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense from a wanting to build a great competitive headset standpoint. It doesn't. The only thing saving it is the ability to do a hybrid setup. And excuse me. And even then, the only thing saving it is the fact that the resolution is so amazing. So they put so much into the headset that people want it, and that's where they're willing to go to great lengths to make it happen, versus the Cosmos was basically on par with other headsets visually. And when this tracking was junk, the hybrid setup was still an option for it too. There was just no point to doing that. So anyways, that's just the reality of what we're seeing. So some of these reviewers that have had an Index as their daily driver over all other headsets are going to be trying to use the Reverb as a hybrid setup. Let time tell you how long they want to keep that up. I mean, I don't know that they'll ever post a video saying, hey, today I decided, screw this, I'm just using my Index. But at some point it may emerge that they're back to the Index waiting for the next thing. There are some hiccups and downsides and hassles. They're relatively mild, and it depends on personal preference, but that hybrid setup is not the same thing as turning on your PC, loading Steam VR, and loading a game. But at the same time, anybody willing to use a Quest that's having to launch link, boot their Quest, launch link, and then launch, anyone that takes those extra steps every time they play, the hybrid setup is probably the same thing or better than how to do that. So I guess a lot of people now with their headsets are used to having a a bunch of junk to jump through to start playing VR. For me, that's a peeve. I don't want that. So some people are just all about wireless. I know the compromises that wireless takes. I prefer the quality. I have a cable suspension. It's very rare that the cable is an issue, but the quality I enjoy all the time. And I enjoy simple. That's why the quality audio of the headset for the Index, the off ears, is amazing, period. But having quality audio as part of the headset, when I jump in and jump out, with this Index, man, it's just on and off. It's not a problem at all to get back to where I was. It is comfortable every time I wear it. It's not like, ooh, this time I found the right spot, and the next time I'm like, this will work. This is consistently, bam, it's right where I want it. And that's great, because if you're having a long extended period in VR and you jump in and out, I don't know. I mean, for me at least, those hassles are annoying. They're frustrating. And so it just takes away from the experience. It's, and also with by having a hybrid tracker set up, I don't have to worry about anything getting kind of messed up with my tracking. Like if I leave the room, I can wear my trackers and come back in, and they're tracking right where they're supposed to be. Excuse me. And I don't know that I could consistently count on that with the space calibrator setup. I think sometimes that was confusing to it. So, it's just nice. It's simple, straightforward. That is huge for me. And again, like I said, the audio. Now, the off-ear is just kind of a bonus. It was pretty neat. But yesterday I was working with my CV1 again, just to kind of check some stuff out. I may not be able to use it where I hoped I could because it's a small area. But checking it out, visually, everything, I still enjoyed the headset. It seemed fine. I was briefly in VR chat. But, I was surprised at how much I did not like having the headphones touching my ears now. I'm just surprised that once you do that. So, and that could be something that somebody, but people aren't generally going from like a Quest to an original Rift, but that might be something somebody would notice, other than the fact that, I don't know what it's like to go from junk audio to having quality audio touching your ears. I'm just talking about going from quality audio to quality audio, but one touches my ears, one doesn't, was a big difference too. So, there's just a lot of features there. So basically the off-ear thing is kind of a good direction for VR, but as you see, there's a way to do it with quality and there's a way to do it with compromise, and the compromise leaves people putting on headphones anyways. So those are just things to consider, and when it's all said and done, when all of these things are considered, the things that make VR the best possible experience it can be in 2020, all of those components are available on the Index, except for the people that put wireless into that category. Again, I don't put wireless into that category because I accept the reality of where technology is. I think we're on the cusp of wireless not having to be a trade-off, but we're not there yet, and that's because the companies that actually are dealing wireless don't do VR well, and that's HTC. They lost it, they used to, but they don't now. So and then and it's Facebook, and Facebook bought Oculus. Oculus was certainly a company that did VR well, but now it's just a brand, and Facebook is trying to do Facebook well. They're not trying to do VR well anymore. And the proof of that is anybody that had a Rift 1 that hoped for a Rift 2. It's very obvious that Oculus hasn't produced anything worthy of being considered a Rift 2, even equivalent of what a Rift 2 should have and could have been. So that's it. There's a quality experience. There's components that make VR, and it's possible to put them in every headset. It might not mean that your price can start at $299, but it should mean you should be able to start at $400. Because at one point, all the components were available for $350 with the CV1. So anyways, I'm Digital Sticks, and this is enough points on that other than, again, the dislikes to me are just a mystery, and some people kind of shed a little bit of light on that. I still don't know if I fully understand it. I don't care, again, in the sense of the typical, I don't have any expectations for this channel, certainly not anytime soon. So, I like to share the information that's helpful. I do like to see the subscriber base growing a little bit because I haven't written it off. But this content, like right now, I don't expect, if this blew up, that would just be amazing because these VR chat based videos are super easy to do. I'll do that all day long. But I kind of expect something that actually goes further to need more effort, better intros and do all the eye candy and the sound effect, different transitions, all the stuff that people do to add that polish that really changes the entertainment value more than a casual viewer even realizes. I expect that to be necessary. And if I were to actually create, I wouldn't stick with simply just, I would polish this up if it blew up regardless. But anyways, I don't expect it. It's fun to do. Like I said, I do enjoy the subscriber base growing. And it's not certainly going to hurt anything if it grows and if something turns a corner. Anyways, my thing is my internet here at home is terrible. There's nothing I can do about it. The rumor has it now that I may have fiber by July of next year, so that could transform things. But to be cut off from good quality streaming options really kind of dried up any options I had for building a base. Like, I do not have the time to dedicate to videos as though they were going to pay off. If it's not going to pay off, I can't do them. Other than these are easy. So again, the whole ramble there is the dislikes are not offensive to me like they might be to another producer. They're not killing any ambitions of mine like they might to another producer. The only thing that the dislikes are to me is a mystery. And again, some people commented, I haven't fully caught up on those comments, so maybe some of that mystery gets explained. But it's just like, this is really honest, factual information. I can't change it. I don't know where people are being offended. So some people are shining lights. That's why I clarified on the tracking that no, I'm not even trying to say that it's unusable, but it's an unnecessary compromise. You can't use, that's going to be the worst possible full kit to use for VR chat. And VR chat's really what made me an enthusiast. It's really what I consider, it's really the game that takes advantage of and highlights the advantage of quality VR, like throughout. And if you have a quality headset for this game, you should have a quality headset for everything. The only exception would be you could get by with less resolution in this game than you would want perhaps for like a racing sim. And so that's where the whole comment I make with an asterisk that the CV1 is actually the second best complete kit to the Index. That's where that comes in. It's how well the elements you would have out of the box. So, obviously we're talking about out of the box. That's not talking about tracking, full body tracking. That's just talking about coming in here and the immersion you get from the standard kit. And the experience you get between the audio, the comfort, everything. CV1 in VR chat is better than a Quest. So in those senses, if you want to come in here and just stare at the mirror and you want your avatar to be in the highest, crispest quality it can be while you're in your mirror simulator and you don't care about what your hands do, actually, between the Quest 2 and your hands, it's not a big deal, but between the Reverb G2, your mirror simulation days are going to be very awkward. You're going to be, it's going to be a disabled mirror simulator. So you get to come in and pretend to be a disabled avatar. And so anyways, and you can't even move your fingers. So, It might be a good empathy building experience. Who knows? Anyways, all right, I rambled enough, but thanks for watching. And I don't plan to make every video about this topic, but mainly I was inspired to make another video because of highlighting the fact that the people that review these devices and seem to almost be enthusiastic about every device, they have a clear favorite, which is the Index Kit. And so I know it costs $1,000. I know everybody can't buy it. I'm not trying to say anyone who buys something else is dumb. I'm just simply saying that if you have the money and can afford it, or if you already have VR and you're wanting to upgrade your experience and you're looking at some of these other things, now once you're ready for premium, once what you have is coming up short of what you want, the Index Kit right now is the only thing that's actually going to take that experience higher. There are some caveats and exceptions to that. You got to do your own research. But as a base level, simply what's available, what's possible, that's it. By the way, this is my son here. You can't see him, but he's coming up for some head pats. So he's just like a little anime avatar sometimes. But all right. Okay, hang on. All right, so thank you for watching. Have a good day.
I came up to show my dad something.